Every December, The Economist publishes a special edition called The World Ahead. This isn't a magazine for everyday readers. It's designed for decision makers, the people who operate far above public debate. And if you look back, history shows us something important. These issues are never released randomly. Long before COVID reshaped our lives, before war returned to Europe, and before inflation hit households everywhere, The Economist had already framed the narrative. It didn't do this with loud warnings or dramatic headlines. It did so quietly through symbolism, careful wording, and strategic themes. And the 2026 World Ahead issue stands out. It's unusually dark, unusually direct, and deeply unsettling. This isn't optimism, it's a signal. The cover alone tells a story: war imagery, collapsing markets, syringes, pills, social unrest. At first glance, it just looks symbolic, like abstract art. But once you move inside the magazine, the message sharpens. This doesn't read like a guess about the future. It reads like preparation. That's because 2026 isn't just another calendar year. It marks the 250th anniversary of the United States. And instead of framing it as a moment of unity or renewal, the magazine suggests something very different. It points toward fragmentation, a loss of influence, and a system under immense strain. So this video isn't just about decoding a mysterious cover. It's about understanding what powerful institutions believe is coming next. This isn't speculation. It's not a theory. This is their publication, their language, and their perspective. And if you felt a growing instability across politics, economics, and society, this may explain why. So, what exactly is The Economist? It's not just another news outlet. Founded in 1843 and headquartered in London, it is deeply connected to global finance and policy circles. Its readership includes central bankers, corporate leaders, and policymakers who don't just respond to events, they shape them. Its ownership has historically involved elite financial families, a fact that's publicly documented. This matters because that kind of influence shapes the framing of every story they tell. Every year, The World Ahead claims to forecast the future, but over time, these forecasts have developed a reputation for being disturbingly accurate. In 2019, the issue focused on global disruption. Just a few months later, the world shut down. In 2021, it highlighted themes of war, inflation, and unrest. Soon after, conflict escalated and markets fractured. Is it all a coincidence? Possibly. But the pattern is becoming very hard to ignore. Now, let's look at the 2026 edition. There's no ambiguity here. The tone suggests prolonged instability, not a crisis followed by a quick recovery, but a state of tension becoming the new normal. And what's most striking is how calmly it's all presented. It's written as if widespread disruption is already an expected, foregone conclusion. The magazine frames America's 150th year, not as a celebration, but as a moment of deep disagreement over its identity and direction. It openly questions whether U.S. global leadership is entering its final phase. And this raises an even bigger question: if American dominance fades, who or what will fill the vacuum? The Economist also discusses a world increasingly shaped by gray zone conflict. This means cyber warfare, infrastructure sabotage, and territorial pressure without any formal declarations of war. These tactics are already in use all around us. We see it in Ukraine, around Taiwan, across the Middle East, and in the South China Sea. The message is clear. Conflict doesn't need an official war anymore to destabilize nations. Then comes the financial warning. Wealthy nations, especially the U.S., are described as operating on borrowed time. They are facing rising debt, soaring interest costs, and shrinking confidence in their long-term stability. The magazine openly raises the risk of a major bond market crisis. And think about what that means. If sovereign debt loses trust, the entire global financial order shifts. Health also plays a major role in their forecast. They talk about biotechnology, new weight loss drugs, and digital health monitoring. But these aren't framed as simple innovations for our benefit. They're presented as systems deeply tied to behavior and policy. At the same time, the massive investment boom in AI is described as something that could be masking deeper economic weaknesses. If jobs start disappearing on a mass scale, if money loses its meaning, and if institutions lose their credibility, the pressure on society builds to a breaking point. And here's the uncomfortable part. Systemic breakdown doesn't affect everyone equally. For the people who design the systems, a crisis can be leveraged. Fear increases compliance. Instability helps centralize authority. History proves this pattern repeatedly. Economic stress often leads to tighter controls, more digital oversight, and reduced autonomy over our own money. Health emergencies can reshape public behavior overnight. We've already seen how quickly freedoms can be traded for a promise of safety. And once a mechanism of control is proven to work, it doesn't just disappear. So, when you read The World Ahead 2026, it doesn't feel like a simple warning. It feels like an acknowledgement, not of coming chaos, but of an engineered transition. The real question isn't whether change is coming. It is whether you'll be able to recognize it for what it is before it fully arrives. Thanks for watching. If you found this insightful, make sure to like and subscribe for more content that looks beyond the headlines. See you next time.